Today we are talking to the founder and CEO of Farmer's Fridge, Luke Saunders. Farmer's Fridge is essentially fresh food in a vending machine, but they're a much more dynamic company than that. They have 500 employees, roughly 2,000 locations, and they raised over $100 million. Let's go talk to Luke. All right, so we are with Luke Saunders, the founder and CEO of Farmer's Fridge. Luke, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about Farmer's Fridge and tell us how you started the company.
The simplest way to understand Farmer's Fridge is we put fresh, healthy food in a vending machine. And the idea is to make fresh, healthy food as accessible as a candy bar.
What inspired you to start this company?
So I've always loved entrepreneurship. Before this, I was a traveling salesperson for a metal finishing company. So what that meant is driving 1,000 miles a week, visiting manufacturing businesses, everything from food to pharmaceutical. And the biggest problem I had was trying to get a healthy meal on the go. So it was mostly fast food or a gas station were the options. But vending machines are everywhere. There's over 100 million people today will go to a vending machine to buy a drink or a snack. So the idea is if you want to make fresh, healthy food accessible, why not use a vending machine to do that?
And so you've gone through a lot of changes since you founded in 2013?
Yeah, we started in 2013. I basically quit my job in the middle of 2013. We opened the first fridge in a food court in downtown Chicago in October of 2013. So it's been a little over 10 years now. But really the core mission and way we operate is the same. So like I used to drive down to the produce company, pick up the produce first thing in the morning in the back of my Subaru, drive it to the shared kitchen, chop up the lettuce, put it in a jar, and then drive it down to the food court.
You were literally doing this yourself?
Yeah, my cousin actually moved here for a couple months to help me, but basically, yes. And we pretty much do the same thing today. So we get fresh produce in every day. We have a team that's actually taking that and chopping it, cooking it, mixing it, getting it ready to go into the jars. And then we have a team that's actually assembling the jars. So everything is designed so that you're cutting the lettuce, getting it right into the product. That product, we don't even know where it's going most of the time. So at the end of the day, we actually look at the inventory of the entire fridge network and decide what's going to be the best place to send the product that we've made, and then we allocate it, we send it on trucks, and we're getting it into those fridges overnight. So it's just that really tight process from the ingredients coming in to the product going out to the consumer being able to purchase it. That was always the mentality, so it's obviously more scalable now, but that's the same thing that we do 10 years later.
All right, Luke, let's make some food. What are we making today?
So we're gonna make a caprese salad. This is one of my favorites. It's seasonal only. We wait until we can get like really great tomatoes and it feels like it's the right time of year to eat it. So you start with your Farmer's Fridge jar. And
that was good placement right there.
Yeah. And then you're just gonna get, this is actually a basil couscous. We get a little bit of raisins in there to bring some of the sweetness and the fruit forward. And then, get a nice handful of tomatoes. You got these nice multicolored cherry tomatoes. And then we're gonna take some mozzarella. This is actually Belgiosa mozzarella that we get through a partnership with them. And then this is actually the trickiest part. So you see, spinach wants to bruise really easily. So like if you kind of pinch it, that's gonna show up as bad quality. So we're really working on training all the time on how do you kind of really get this in here and have that product be still fresh when people get it. So you've got your spinach, some dressing. This is balsamic dressing that we put on here because what's better than balsamic with a caprese salad, and then some sesame crisp to give it some crunch. That's it. You got a Farmer's Fridge salad.
How often do you come up with new recipes?
About once a month. So the team will start things in here. We'll ideate. We'll say, we think a green goddess based salad would really be something that consumers would like. They'll make like 100 different green goddess dressings to understand, the viscosity and the flavor and all that. But yeah, this is where it all starts. And I would say they might start with 10 things to launch one.
So can you walk us through the logistics of the company as well? Because you mentioned that you ship everything out from Chicago. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, so imagine you get into our kitchen down by Midway Airport. You've got an assembly line with all these products are ready to go. So like the couscous this morning got cooked off. We mixed in the basil, we added the raisins, like everything's ready to go. This jar is gonna roll down the line. You're gonna add those in steps. So you might see 6 to 10 people lined up preparing each salad, and we'll run thousands of that in a row.
What percentage of a given fridge, what percentage of food gets tossed because of it's not fresh? And I assume like that's a huge standard that you have too. You don't want to have a consumer go in and get something that's past the shelf life.
Yeah, so there's a number of things. First, when we make a product, we know exactly what the shelf life is from the time that we make it. Every fridge is actually programmed to know what the shelf life of that product is. So say a driver misses the stop and you don't get to it in time, the fridge will actually auto expire that inventory.
And just put it into a different...
Yeah, so like if you show up at a fridge and it says like, hey, I'm past my prime, that means that the product's expired, you can't buy it, the fridge knows that. It's a key element of the fridge network.
Yeah.
Just to ensure that the food is always at peak freshness.
What percentage would you say?
Well, so then the actual amount of food that we don't sell, we're usually targeting in the fridges like 7 to 8% unsold inventory. But that's a national number. So like in our most mature market here in Chicago, we run about 3.5%. And then anything that we're getting back, we do our best to donate it. Just depends local market and how much shelf life we have left.
Nice. Was there any pivotal moment or something substantial that happened to you, or experience that you had that made you want to start a business or made you want to become a leader or a CEO?
I unfortunately had this job where I was had a lot of time to think. I was driving 1,000 miles a week, and I had a big problem in my day, which was what was I going to eat and how much did it cost, because I wasn't making a lot of money. And then I had the idea for Farmer's Fridge, and I felt compelled. I went home and I wrote the business plan. I showed it to my wife and a couple other people, and they were like, you've written a few of these. This is like actually pretty good. But
this one doesn't suck.
Yeah, this one is not terrible. But you're gonna have to. You realize like you're gonna never sleep. Like you're gonna the way this business model is gonna work. To get it right, you're gonna have it's a 24-hour day thing.
And now you have 3 kids.
So I just continue the not sleeping. But no, it's that really, it was an accident in that sense. Like I had an idea that I really was passionate about and wanted to pursue, and thought, I can give this a shot with limited amount of money that I had in my bank account and on my credit cards. And so that was it. But I don't think I wasn't like, I have to do this as a general entrepreneurship thing. It was more, I really felt strongly that this business should exist.
I think people think the CEO role is a sexy role. Mm-hmm. It's glamorous. You're the leader, right? Like, and business owner is, you look at all the success, look at the possibilities. What's something that they don't know about founding a business and starting a company and all the changes that you have to go through, and then ultimately being a CEO?
Yeah, I would say the job on average is great, but the variance is very high. So all of the hardest decisions are yours to make. All of the credit when it's good is certainly can flow in your direction. But at the end of the day, you also have to deal with all the negative things that happen or the risk that happens in your business. So I would say like the highest highs and the lowest lows as a founder. Anyone who's started a company knows what that feels like. The other thing, it's pretty lonely. Like you don't have a team of people that you're commiserating with. So
because you can't like start
no, so you can certainly
too much.
Right, yeah. So like when things are bad, I have to be really, try to be realistic and positive, but like you have to start to look outside of your own business to find that support network. But I don't think people fully appreciate when they look at that job and they say, oh, that's got to be an awesome job. But like I've been doing it 10 years. I still work like 60, 70 hours a week. And that's like the minimum of what it takes.
What's a piece of advice you would give to an entrepreneur looking to start a company?
Make sure you're ready to spend 10 or 20 years of your life on something. I think there are some entrepreneurs out there who get to do this like every 2 or 3 or 4 years. But like, is this really something that you're very passionate about? I think a good idea is not enough. Like I wake up every day very excited still 10 years later because the problem that we're solving, I meet people in my day-to-day life that are like, hey, I was stuck in a hospital in the middle of the night and was able to get a meal, or thanks for existing in the airport where I actually like never could get something healthy before, or like I just stopped wearing Farmer's Fridge stuff on the airplane because I get like the flight attendant would be like, oh my gosh, I love this food.
Yeah.
And so you just like that feedback loop of like solving a problem is very motivating. But if you're not like intrinsically motivated by that and it's just about the money or the prestige or things. Like there's most of the time you're not going to have enough money and you're not going to get enough credit. And so you have to really care about what you're doing.
If you could, walk me through the fridge, the design of the fridge, and then can you walk me through the economics of a general fridge in a general location?
Yeah, so starting with sort of the fridge and what you see when you walk up, the first thing we were trying to do is break the association with vending. So, you have this kind of triangle shape because it doesn't need to be like crazy, but you're breaking the plane of what does it mean to be a vending machine? And then you go back to the screen. So it should be the fastest food you can ever order. Start a session here. You know, so you can go from salads, breakfast items, bowls, sandwiches, snacks, proteins. Try to cover all the main. Yeah, go for it. So like chips and guac would be a great example of a snack that we do. We actually make that guacamole in-house at our own house-made pico de gallo.
I don't have my wallet.
I have a credit card just for this purpose. And so you're just going to swipe and that's it.
I forgot my wallet.
It took 5 seconds to do that.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. It's just like the fridge transaction process should really blend into the background. You're going to get your food, pick it up. There's some sundries on the side. So that's you have forks, spoons, and bowls. And that's it. So.
All right, so walk me through the economics of this. So this costs around $6, but what do you want each location to generate monthly? Give us an overview of that.
Yeah, so our goal is basically put as many fridges into the ground as we possibly can. So right now we have about 2,000. We'd love to have 100,000 someday. And counterintuitively, what we think about a lot is how do you sell the least amount of food and still make money? So we have fridges that will do $500 a week. We have fridges that'll do $10,000 a week and everything in between. And so the basic premise is you put a fridge in, we share some of the revenue that we generate with the client site that we're in a lot of cases. Sometimes they're actually subsidizing the food because we don't have enough volume without that subsidy to make money. And then you have the food cost, credit card fees, any unsold product, the delivery expense. And so after everything, we want to try to clear about 30%, pay the fridge back in a year and a half. That's sort of the general economic model of the fridge. It's a great unit economic model for one fridge. The really big challenge is you need 2,000 of them to actually make that work. Mm-hmm. But that is really how it goes.
I'm a fan of real food eating. I think there's way too much processed in the world. I want you to tell me, hot take, whatever, why you think the world needs more real food consumption. Because I think it's very important.
Yeah, I think we could talk about this obviously for a long time. My goal is to be not prescriptive about what people eat. So I want to make it easier, more convenient, cheaper, taste better. I don't want to tell you that you should eat healthy food. And so I think that's very important because ultimately the way that you win and get people to eat more healthy food is they don't think of it as something that's a sacrifice at all. So that's kind of core to what we do and how we think about Farmer's Fridge. But at the same time, the reason I care so much about making that so seamless is because I think it's really important that we eat healthy food. And to me, healthy food, there's so much conflicting feedback in your everyday life when you're trying to figure out what's healthy and what's not healthy, and sometimes it's low fat and sometimes it's no carbs, and it just is very confusing. The one thing that everybody agrees on 100% of the time is more fruits and vegetables in your diet and less processed food. We've reached a point where we should be able to get everybody fresh, unprocessed food. And that was part of the ethos of the business from the beginning. Is this is mostly a supply chain challenge. It has nothing to do with how many fruits and vegetables we grow. It has to do with how quickly we can get them to people and increase their value in terms of making them taste better.
So you mentioned airports and hospitals. Where would you like Farmer's Fridge machines to be?
Well, the idea is to have Farmer's Fridge be ubiquitous. So we want to be anywhere and everywhere. We want to make fresh, healthy food as accessible as a candy bar. The internal joke is if we can get salad to the moon, maybe we could call it a day. But that'll take some time.
When you reflect back, say to 2013, 2014, what are your thoughts? You just mentioned 500 people. You're in 22 markets. I mean, what is your reflection on the company that you've built?
I honestly couldn't have told you what it would look like 10 years later. I knew that the ambition was really big. So sometimes I'm just shocked by how much shit has changed in 10 years. A little part of me misses like all the craziness and chaos of those early days and just trying to figure it out. But mostly you just feel like like if I look at how much we've accomplished in 10 years and think about what it'll look like in 10 more years, if it changes that much, that's probably the thing that, most blows my mind or gets me excited about the next 10 years.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to keep an eye out for your company and you. You've built something awesome. So appreciate your time and
Yeah.
thank
Thanks
you
for
so
spending
much.
the time with me.
Awesome.
Action.
That's great. Welcome to CBS News. Actually, I did watch the CBS News thing. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's a banger of a song.
Someone's having a great day with
They
is
just
like-
got good news.
You gonna keep it with you?
Hell yeah, why not? About Farmer's Fridge and tell us how you started the company.
I'm not supposed to answer.
No,
right?
don't answer.
It's like we did this, didn't we?
This chia pudding is very tasty. Is that my cue to go?
I'm like, they all seem like they're waiting on us, and I'm like, I think if I'm getting a look
Okay.
from the rest of your team that's like,
Sorry.
maybe we should
They're
just
used
get
to
on it.
dealing with my ADHD.